Alrighty. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining for this Regenerative Community Development Mastermind. This is our first mastermind, and we're going to be doing this every month. And typically it's going to be on the first Thursday of the month, but make sure to check the website and the schedule. If for some reason, some months we might change it by a day or a week or something, but we're going to aim for the first Thursday of the month. And my name is Joshua Alvord, and I am a person who cares a lot about the health of this planet. And my background is in architecture. I worked in an architecture firm for several years here in San Diego and started up a nonprofit organization called Local Earth in 2012, focused on sustainable community development. And I've done quite a few trainings in natural building, permaculture design, whole systems design, and I've been involved in this type of work for about the last 10 years. And we just finished a 2-year prototype project of a larger scale eco-village model that we have been working on for several years. And that finished up in April 1st. And let's see here. Just going through my notes and trying to admit people at the same time. But I'm gonna let you, Kimberly, admit people as they come in. So the masterminds will be free for anybody who's a Patreon member, and our organization operates a lot from the contributions from our Patreon members. And then if you're not a Patreon member, it'll be $5. And so there's links for that of how to become a Patreon. And we're working together with the Solar Energy Alliance as part of this mastermind. And so there's ways to explore collaboration through partnership or affiliate, like ambassador programs with the Solar Energy Alliance. And let's see, a little bit of Zoom. I'm guessing a lot of people are pretty familiar with Zoom these days, but if you are not, there's a little chat window down at the bottom, whether you're on your phone or on your computer, and so you can send messages, and I'm reading some right now. Okay. And you can raise your hand, and if you have a question, and once we get into the breakout sessions, I'll explain that a little bit more in depth as we do that. So let's do a quick introduction from everybody that is here. And we'll try to keep it somewhat concise, like, within like 20 or 30 seconds. Just say your name, where you're zooming in from, and any like skills or expertise that you have that you feel are relevant to contribute to kind of the masterminding and development of regenerative communities. And I think that the rest of you can hear me, because I'm seeing somebody say we can't hear anything, but I'm thinking the rest of you can hear me. Okay. So yeah, let's just do popcorn style. Just hop in, unmute yourself, and share your name, location, and any like skills or talents you feel are relevant to regenerative community development. So go for it.
Hi, I'm Holly, zooming in from San Diego. Completely new to this. Joshua, a friend of mine and myself have been following you for a while, and so now I finally had some time to jump in. So I'm just here to see what's going on.
Awesome. Thanks, Holly.
Hi, I'm Kimberly. I am up in Marin, just north of San Francisco. And I have a passion for living right way with the earth and helping beings be clear vessels and and then gaining the desire to really be present with the earth and living in harmony with the earth. So I am complete.
Thanks, Kimberly.
Hi, I'm Zola. I'm calling in from Hamilton, Kirikiriroa, Aotearoa, New Zealand. And my background, I am doing regenerative housing now, trying to promote it in my country. And I lived in an emerging eco-village for 9 years and ran my homestead as a sustainability center, and have taught permaculture for a number of years. And yeah, very interested to connect with others who are doing this professionally. Kia ora.
Awesome. Welcome from New Zealand.
Hi, I'm Marissa Lopez. I'm from Camarillo, California, which is just north of Los Angeles. And we have some property that's in town, and we're pretty much a suburban area. So I was thinking of turning that infill space. I'm trying to use that space. It's a corner lot into my first test site for a regenerative site in town. I have done some permaculture classes, some real basic intros, and I took a 2-week tour of different eco-villages a couple of years ago in Southern and Central California. So I'm interested to connect with folks now that we're getting a little closer to moving forward.
Awesome. Welcome.
Hi, my name is Dylan. I'm from the East Bay, but I'm currently in Grass Valley. I'm a environmental studies major, and I'm here to network with people and share wisdom and gain wisdom from you guys, and move forward and creating a sustainable future together.
Awesome. Thank you, Dylan.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Emily Walker. I'm zooming in from just outside of Denver, Colorado. Spend my time between Colorado, my home state, and New Mexico. So I met Joshua in New Mexico recently, and my background is actually in real estate and investing. I grew up kind of homesteading, and I would like to increasingly use my skills for, I think, what's the future and more unconventional, earth-centric and love-centric lifestyles.
Great to see you, Emmy.
Me too.
Hi, I'm John Paul. I also met Joshua with Emmy in New Mexico. I live in Taos, New Mexico, and I've been practicing sustainable and natural building techniques. And I have 8 acres with 6 other people, including Emmy, in Carson, New Mexico. And you know, we're doing our best to plant as many trees as we can. We just planted 200 trees in the desert, and you know, I think it's going to be worth the struggle of getting the water to them, hoping to have a well soon. But just, you know, trying to practice as much love for the planet as I can. And I'm here just to learn as much as I can to what I can do to help.
Welcome, John Paul, from the hot springs to cyber world.
Hello, this is Miguel here, the U.S. Virgin Islands. I'm new to this group. I just came across it, and as I was looking for regenerative agriculture and architecture means, just this afternoon I was writing an article, an op-ed on master planning and whatnot, so it's very relevant to what I'm trying to do at the moment.
Awesome. Thank you for being here, Miguel.
Hi, everyone. Can you see me?
Yes.
Hi, Greg Jackson here. I'm currently in New York. I split my time between San Francisco and New York. Been involved a little bit into some communities here and there. Not too much. It's a big passion and love of mine. I work full-time in the med tech digital health community, and I'm currently leading a very large transformation of a large company to incorporate the entire digital ecosystem, all that quote unquote evil artificial intelligence, machine learning, natural language processing. We're doing it for magnificent, healing, loving things. And I'm one of those high-tech, med-tech guys from Johnson & Johnson, Eli Lilly, that's also a Kundalini yoga teacher, a meditator, a mindfulness practitioner. I'm trying to be vegetarian. And I am that person that brings in what the big med tech multi-billion-dollar companies know how to do to kill it and crush it and just take over the industry. I say this positively. There's things we do in med tech that I want to bring to these eco communities, permaculture, sustainable living, my Kundalini yoga lifestyle, vegetarianism, or at least a lot less animal use. And I want to bring my corporate expertise to that. Not everybody's going to want that. And I'm not trying to corporatize anybody or marketize anybody or make anybody Mr. Capitalist USA. But there's stuff that we do that can help grow. And this movement needs to take over. What you guys are doing, you guys should have been, this is what the argument should have been at the presidential election, not the other crap. But let me not get into any of that. God bless you guys. I'm hoping to contribute and be part of everything that's going on one way or many ways.
Awesome, Greg. Welcome. Thanks so much for being here.
My name is Matt. The reason why I joined this call is I'm looking to create or join an intentional house or community, and like kind of following things that come in my field. And Holly invited me, so that was also happened. I think some of the skill sets I have are around communication and emotional intelligence. I'm really good at helping people navigate and talk to each other through conflict, which kind of comes part and parcel with intentional communities. And I have a gift, especially when it comes to how that shows up with families and children. Nice to meet you all.
Awesome, Matt. Thanks for being here. Yeah, that emotional intelligence, a big part of the human dynamics, is super important. So thanks for being here.
Hi, my name is Debbie, and I'm from San Diego. I've been following what Josh has been doing for several years now. I'm really excited about it. I got to see the community that he was in for a couple of years up in North County, and I'm not sure how I fit in, but when I listen to all of you, I'm really inspired, and I feel like there's probably a place for me somewhere. My background is in environmental consulting, and so when I went to college, I built a teepee instead of living in a dorm. That's just the kind of person I am. So I've been wanting to live off the land for a long time and find it really hard to do. And right now I'm really inspired by some of the ideas Marissa was talking about in creating urban infill opportunities for people to be to live cooperatively and to reduce air quality impact by growing food locally, distributing it locally, eating organic food, encouraging natural insects and pollinators. There's just so many opportunities for these ideas in urban environments as well as going off to the country. So I'm really open to lots of different ways that intentional communities, regenerative communities can manifest, and hope I find where I fit.
Awesome. Thanks so much for being here, Debbie. And there's about 30 of us. So let's, like, on our introductions right now, let's try to keep them pretty concise to, like, 20, 30 seconds of just a couple expertise or skills you have. And then once we get into the breakout groups, everybody will go a lot deeper. So.
Sounds good. I'll be super brief. I am Michael Ravenwood. I'm zooming in from Encinitas, California. I, like Greg, am interested in taking some of my experience with operating with teams and building business and things like that to ecological lifestyle and community building. And so skill sets around communication, organization, planning, and just go get them. like a lot of passion. So happy to be here.
Welcome, brother.
I'm Maggie. I'm zooming in from Hawaii, and I'm currently on an eco village and just loving it and just want to learn more and really into organization and just how all the little details work on land.
Welcome.
Hi, I'm Steph McCoy. I'm in San Diego. Moved here in 2012, and I've basically just been trying to weasel my way into any permaculture sustainable event that has been going on, and clear out unnecessary toxic 9-to-5 jobs and things. And so I have all this new space, and I went to Permaculture Voices 1 and 2. I've just been basically doing a lot of volunteering and asking like, how can I help? And that's about it. And now I'm ready. I have space, so I'm excited.
Awesome. Welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thanks.
Hi, my name is Tyler Lilly from Seattle, and I am a student of presence as well as a teacher of presence. I'm a somatic therapist. I'm also an artist, meditator. I've done lots of permaculture. I had a gardening landscape business for many years out in the Hamptons, New York. And I've bought and sold and remodeled and landscaped about 5 houses in the Northwest. And I'm looking to purchase land or join an existing small sitting regenerative farming type group. Just watched Kiss the Ground, awesome documentary.
Awesome.
Well, my name's I'm Brian Cutler. Nice seeing everybody. My wife and I, Quanta, have been together and living in community years ago for about 25 years total, and have lived out of community now longer than that. And we're looking to get submerged again. Really miss the synergies and all the intelligence of sustainable living, and we're really interested in all the very interesting differences of expression, all the fantastic flavors of living a sustainable lifestyles, and we're going to just see how that unfolds.
Great to see you, brother. Thanks for being here.
Good seeing you, Josh.
Hi, I'm Bridget. Oh.
Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Bridget, and this is Orion. Do you want to say hi?
Hi. Hi.
And we live on a 10-acre farm in Port Townsend with 8 other people, including 1 other family with a 2-year-old, and me and the other mama are both pregnant right now. So we're expanding our little eco village out here that we're building. And yeah, I have a background in childhood education and left my teaching job to be a full-time parent because I find that that's the most important thing for me and for our future is to help rewild these children. And one of my greatest passion. You want me to stop talking? It's my turn to talk though. There's a lot of people on here. Is that we like to engage in primitive skills and yeah, living off the land, living minimally. We have a little tiny house behind us, and there's 4 of us that live in it right now, which is really and it's interesting to see how we can live with less and in smaller spaces. But thanks for the call.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. And where did you say your community is at?
We're in Port Townsend, Washington.
Port Townsend, okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, I'm Michael Simonitis in Sebastopol, California, and I operate Waste Busters and Sudbusters, and now we're starting a new project, Carbon Busters, where we're going to be doing carbon farming, facilitating the application of compost onto farms and rangelands across California. and I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. Thanks for being here, Michael.
I might as well. Nothing to fray. Hi, Rains Cohen, Berkeley, California. I'm going from co-housing coach to eco-village ambassador, working with the eco-village design cards to say how can we integrate design and community. And yeah, looking forward to, I'll share more on the document about co-housing open this weekend. I think there's some great sharing opportunities there.
Awesome. Thanks for being here, Rains. I appreciate you're very involved in lots of stuff, and Rains has a lot of wisdom to share. So thanks for being here.
Hey everybody, my name is Cody Harrison. I'm based in Encinitas. A small company called Corona Enterprises, or the Corona of the sun, not the virus. And trying to convert it into a San Diego version of Mondragon. If anybody's familiar with the Spanish cooperative, yeah, seeing Rains giving the thumbs up. Anybody that hasn't heard of it, highly recommend checking it out. It's 75,000 plus members, operating in every major sector of the economy. Really, really cool organization. Yeah, I want to create like a San Diego version of that, but a little bit more eco and social benefit focused. And I will leave it at that for now.
Awesome. Thanks for being here, brother.
My name is Dave. I'm in San Diego, California. Met Josh 8 or 10 years ago, worked on projects on and off since then. I spent time in the building industry for 25 years, different aspects of that, and health and education and a variety of things. And I like it all. I'm done.
Awesome. Thank you for being here, brother. All right, any other intros we got?
Oh, hey. I am Diane G. Oh, hello.
We hear you.
I am at Madre Grande. I'm studying to be a monk. And I am so excited about having you all up here. I'm all about using what's abundant on the hill here. And fermentation is my thing. And I look forward to meeting you all.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here.
Hello, maybe then I have a try. My name is Reinhard Koppenrath. I'm from Germany. Right now I'm in Costa Rica. Do you hear me?
Yep.
Great. So my life is to create methods in designing. So I'm architect and I have lots of different designing methods. The last 7, 8 are intuitive or inspirative design methods. So when I go on the field and I work with eco-villages and so on, then after 30 years of research, I can just wonder where the energy of the people is and see the whole houses which are really theirs then, which they feel. They are not anymore my designs, they are the designs of the nature. So in terms of Claire Graves, biodynamics, this is a holistic approach. It is not just an integral approach, it's a holistic approach because I don't design anything anymore. The nature designs. Yeah, so far to my person. And I'm traveling around with this thing and checking the conversations with different natures. So now in Costa Rica. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here.
Hello. I don't know what order we're going in.
We're just hopping in wherever you fit in.
Right on. Okay. Well, I unmuted so I can speak now, so that you won't hear all my rumbling. Anyway, my name is Jonathan. I'm in Austin, Texas. I'm a real estate developer. I studied the market and watch it and do investments, and I have learned as a developer the hardships of what it takes to develop a property. And some of the biggest problem is septic, unless you're going like off grid. And I mean, the county wants you to have a septic for your sewer. I mean, you can do compost toilets, but that's not permitted. You can do it all you want. It's not a permit type of thing. So anyway, basically, there's lots of loopholes that you have to go through with counties and different ordinances and city roads and ETJs and restrictions. And so it depends in any area, in whatever county you're in, they have different restrictions. And so you can find a place with low restrictions and low code enforcement, then you can do whatever you want, basically, besides septic. Septic is depending on how many houses you want to put there, and do you want to resell them, and do you want to develop the property for value? Because if you don't do it to code, we won't be able to resell it. And what are you trying to do? Are we trying to build something that we're going to keep for the rest of our lives? Or are we going to keep build a starter home that is a tiny home that we're going to live in until we want to upgrade? And so there's people that are starter homes that are going to build a family and have a couple kids. And then there's like older retirement people who don't want a bigger house. They're trying to downsize. So like, what do you want?
Well, I'll hop in for just 1 second, Jonathan. Sure. And I think so our introductions we're doing pretty brief, just 20 seconds kind of skills we have to offer the group. And then once we get into the breakout, so that'd be a good discussion for the zoning and policy breakout discussion.
Okay. Yeah. So I get it. Yeah. So basically I've been studying permaculture and different sustainable building techniques and vertical farms, aquaponics, permaculture, experimented with a lot of it. There's so many different ways and basically what I found in the sustainable communities is they lack income. So they're trying to build something with essential oils or jewelry or anything. So what we need to have is a production and something that is sustainable. And sometimes we're trying to do that on a limited budget. So anyway, that's what I have noticed. It's like every blade of grass has a price on it, and it's taxed and appraised and all that. So that's basically my expertise that I have to offer. Is I've been studying this for 20 years. I've been in the real estate market, developing properties and flipping houses and following the code and buying my products from Home Depot, and I hate it. It's toxic and it off gases and it gets mold and mildew, and we need to get away from that type of living. And so I've studied that. So
thank you, Jonathan. What breakout room would you like to be in, Jonathan?
I'm not sure. I don't remember.
You can type it in the chat.
Okay. How many breakout rooms are there?
There's 5, and there's a list of them in the chat.
Okay, I'll check it out.
All right, any other introductions? And we're just doing them concise, just name, where you're zooming in from, and any skills or expertise you have to offer to the group. And we're trying to take 20 seconds or so.
Hi, I don't know how this works.
Go for it.
How do you jump on?
Just go for it, you're on.
Oh, okay, I'm here. All right, so this is Stephanie, and this is Kai, and we're calling from Laguna. We're new to the group, but we're friends of Madre Grande. Just really quickly, in my day job, I'm in project management and construction, and my passion is nutrition and natural healing and skincare.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for being here, Kai. All right, any
Hello.
other intros?
I can go if,
All right.
can you hear me?
Yep.
Cool, thanks. My name is Christina, and I am born and raised in Berkeley, California. And I've been a permaculturist for most of my life, but really more professionally in the past 3 to 5 years. I've been doing construction and painting and irrigation systems and landscape design, hand-drawn without computer-assisted programs for about 12 to 15 years. So taking landscape classes, planting design at Merritt College online, which is kind of rocking my world, transforming my world. And yeah, excited about many different things. Regenerative land projects, a collaborative design, greening urban spaces, mutual aid infrastructure, eco-villages, looking to buy land in Mexico. Down the road, would like to stay in California for another couple of years and fight for my beloved Cali. Yeah, thanks.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. And for those of you that are signing up in the Google Doc for the breakout rooms, please make sure you're just signing up in one breakout room for now, and you can go back and forth between, but it's easier for me to start the breakout rooms if you're just in one. And any other introductions?
Y'all jump in, I got space now. Aloha everyone, I'm Jonah Lyon. I'm calling in from Maui, Hawaii. Father of one, Zola. No, there's another Zola in the building, so that was cool. She got excited when she heard that name. And so I'm basically a holistic systems designer and innovator focused in on planetary transformation. Founder and co-creator of the Jedi Alliance and Jedi Academy, which is a university style academic and embodiment movement and decentralized autonomous organization, a DAO. And we're so based currently in Maui, but looking at expanding worldwide. Founded in the elements, working with the elements of nature and coming into a humanitarian and agricultural education template. So giving thanks, honored to be here with all of you, and aloha and mahalo.
Aloha, thanks for being here, brother.
Yep, thanks for having me, brothers.
All right, or do we have any other introductions? Okay. Well, we've got quite the team of superheroes here. So this month, each month we're gonna have just like a 5-minute like featured project to share information about. And next month I've reached out to the Ecology Center. They have a center in San Juan Capistrano and here in Encinitas. They're doing all kinds of amazing things. So I have about a 5-minute featured project to give some information on. And this month I will give kind of an overview on the Eco-Village model and process that we're going through with our nonprofit, with Local Earth. And so this month, that will be the featured presentation. Next month, the Ecology Center, and hopefully maybe the Kiss the Ground will do something the following month in December. And so for those of you that have joined in after starting, I'll just give a little context. I started up a nonprofit organization in 2012 called Local Earth, and my background is architecture. And we have been working on a model for regenerative community development for, I'd say, probably the last 6 or 7 years. And it was in a permaculture course that I first learned about Dunbar's number. And there's an anthropologist doing research on human dynamics of how many people can maintain deep interpersonal relationships, really know one another. And based on the capacity of our neocortex, it's different for each species. And the humans, our Dunbar's number is about 150 people. So we can maintain that many, like, real connections and relationships. And so from architecture and urban planning mind, I was like, wow, you know, I can wrap my head around the context of a community of 150 people. I can see a neighborhood in that scale. You see all throughout history, that number shows up in social dynamics, whether it's large, like military battalions breaking down into smaller groups, whether it's large corporations breaking down into smaller groups. And so a lot of the model that we have been working on is how can that kind of the largest capacity of humans that we can maintain those connections with, how can that scale, about between 100 and 150 people, work together to meet the majority of their basic needs? So grow most of their own food in a small community garden at that scale, or community farm, probably more at that scale. Generate their own electricity from renewable sources, deal with our own waste. And I say it in quotes there because a lot of us who work in whole systems design and permaculture know that, like, there really is no waste if we're designing the systems effectively. We can use all of those resources in a circular system rather than a linear system. So that is kind of the base template of the model we're working on. And we're looking at having between like 4 to 6 internally cooperatively owned and managed businesses within the village, probably a farm, potentially a natural building company, cafe and market. There's a list of like 6 to 8 different businesses that we are feeling could be appropriate to have internally within the village. And the concept is that all of the village members would be working within the village. We wouldn't have to be driving outside. Most of our jobs and the business would be within the village. And even a smaller scale than that of like how many people can sit in a circle at one time, see one another communicate. And research has showed like 9 to 12 is kind of the largest capacity of like that, of like sitting in a circle and talking. So we actually were working on a model of living clusters. So like 12 living clusters of 12 people would give you around 144, that 150 Dunbar's number. And so what we did for the last 2 years is test out the idea for one living cluster of 12 people. So we had 9 adults and 3 kids living together on 11 acres of property northeast of San Diego. And we tested out, a lot of it was more about the social infrastructure and design rather than the physical infrastructure, because our nonprofit had a partnership with the landowner for 2 years. And so we knew we weren't going to be there long term. So people were living in tiny houses and teepees and not super permanent infrastructure. But what we did work on a lot is like the governance model. We all did a 3-day training in sociocracy. And so another important part of our model is a very integrated and distributed system of like authority and decision making. So there's not any like one CEO or president or guru at the middle. It's very integrated and distributed throughout. And so we are using a model of sociocracy or holacracy to make the decisions within the villages. And so on April 1st was the end of that 2-year project. So this April, that prototype completed, and we're now moving into the next phases of our project development. And that will be creating the core team who wants to move forward in developing the full scale 100 to 150 person village. And so we have an application on our website, and I'll send a link here in the chat as well, so you can have that. Between now and through December, we are accepting applications for people who are interested to be residents in the village and co-creators just from the ground up, developing the whole process. And then in January, we're going to start an interview process with the applicants. And then the end of January, February, we're going to start meeting virtually on Zoom to develop that core team. And then in March, ideally we'll come together, because people could be all across the country, all across the world. And by March of next year, hoping to get together in person with some of the core group that wants to move the village forward. So that's a little bit about kind of our project with the village that we've been working on. And let me find that link right now so people can see that if anybody is interested in the village resident application. And I'll send all of this out in a follow-up email as well. Okay. So that is my little overview on the featured project for this month of the Local Earth Village. And now what we're going to do is we're going to get into our breakout groups. And there are 6 different breakout groups. Many of you have signed in on the Google Doc, which breakout group you want to be in. Some of you haven't, so I think I've got most of you into a breakout room. And the way this will work, I might make everybody a co-host. I'll have to check in some admin stuff here. You might be able to just move between the groups at your free will then. If not, you can always hit the bottom of the room. It says leave room, and you can come back to the main room, which I'll be in, which will be, our breakout room is going to be discussing the Local Earth Village and our process and our strategy for moving forward. And you can come back to the main room and say, hey, I want to go, into the green architecture room, and I'll pop you into that room. So we will go into our breakout groups, and then the introductions took a little bit longer than I anticipated, and so we're gonna probably shorten the time of our breakout groups by a little bit, and then we'll come back for like 10 minutes at the end for a wisdom share of anybody that's in the breakout groups that has something that was really potent and like you feel like was valuable to share with the whole group. We'll have a spot to do that. And then also any action items between anybody who wants to participate in next month's Mastermind. Share with the group any action items that you want to take. And in that notes document, everybody has access to it, so you can take notes in it with your breakout group, so you can write the action items in there. And any questions about the breakout group process? And if anybody hasn't either put it in the Google Doc, you can also put in the chat here if you where you would like to go for the breakout rooms.
Can you send that breakout list again, please?
Yeah.
I just switched to my computer and it was not showing up in the messages.
Yep.
And anybody else that just came in probably doesn't have access to it either.
Yep.
Emmy just did. Greg, it's right there.
Cool. Thanks, brother.
Again, just in case.
And I'll share also the master index is right here. And so the master index document should link to everything we have, including the notes and all of that. So that master index document is a good one to like bookmark, so you can have it for easy reference. Okay. So unless there's any other questions about the process, I'll start sending everybody to the breakout groups. And you don't need to have a specific facilitator. If somebody has facilitation skills and wants to kind of step up and offer that, that's an option. And I just ask that we're really mindful in the breakout groups that we give everybody an opportunity to speak. Some people have loud voices, some people talk more than others. Some people sometimes don't, they're a little bit quieter and need that opportunity to share. So I just invite that you give everybody space to share. And yeah, any other questions? And if not, we'll go into the breakout groups.
How much time are we going to be spending approximately in the breakout groups? So if I know if I want to switch partway through.
That's a good question. I'm kind of working with the schedule right now. We either can shorten this, like the introductions took longer than anticipated. So initially wanted 50 minutes in the breakout rooms, but we've really got only like 35 minutes left. So you can either, if people want to stay on this a little bit longer, we can extend the breakout session maybe like 40 minutes and come in for like a 10-minute share, or we can condense it down depending on people's feelings. You want to, like, anybody want to chime in with your thoughts on that?
I'm good with longer, but I'm open to others' thoughts. I'm good with longer.
I have a hard stop at 8 Pacific, but I can just hop out.
Okay. Let's
Oh, sorry, I can't find any breakout groups. I don't know where. I have a tablet in front of mine. Maybe it's connected with this.
If you just want to tell me, there's the breakout groups are land and property, financial models and economics, green architecture and construction, whole systems design, social systems and design, and the local earth village development project. So if you just tell me, I can put you in.
So local else, the last one. Local
Okay,
else.
cool.
Mm-hmm.
So let's do 35 minutes in the breakout group. That'll take us till 8, which was like our anticipated like end time. And then for those that want to stay on for another 10 minutes or something, we'll do kind of that wisdom share where we come back all into one group, and anybody from each group that really had some nugget of wisdom that came out or an action item, we can share with the whole. All right. So if all goes accordingly here, we're all going to zoom out to different little breakout groups here. Okay. So those that are left in this room, this main room is going to be talking about the local Earth Village and our project. So is there anybody still in this room that wanted to be in another breakout room?
Yeah, Josh, I wanted to be in the permit room.
You want to be in the land and property, like policies and zoning and all that?
Yes, please, brother.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll stay here because I don't know if there is anyone in the architecture group construction. Anyway.
Okay. Yeah, the
Maybe
Dave
I didn't see it.
sending you to land and property. Christina, there was one other person that had put on the Google Doc about the architecture.
Right, but I'll stay in the bigger group just because I'm not really in facilitating mode, organizing mode, more in listening mode.
Okay, maybe I should I think Dylan might be in there by himself. Let me bring him back here
sorry
for
about
a
that.
second. No, that's okay.
Hey, Christina?
Yes.
Are you familiar with Urban Adama in Berkeley?
Yes.
Do you spend any time over there?
I had a few boys that I nanny for that spent summer camps there. It's a beautiful place. They're very well funded.
It depends on what you call well funding. I walk
I
in
don't think they're there anymore. I think the lease went. I think they're not there anymore. But a beautiful, beautiful garden.
They're in a new location.
Where? I don't know their new location. I only knew the one off of 6th Street.
We'll try to connect offline. I'll have to double check because I left California. I left last year, so.
It was recent.
Oh, okay.
Maggie, you want to go to whole systems? Okay.
I'd like to go to land and property because there's only 2 of us in financial models.
Okay. Okay. And then Holly said she wanted to be there, but Holly, you're here. You good here?
Yeah, I'm good here. I was
Okay.
just gonna be a fly on the wall.
Okay. All right. Anybody else? And we'll start chatting about local or village. Okay. So based on just the kind of the info that I shared, let's just start with any questions that any of you have or comments.
What?
Yeah. So where's your eco village located? Gonna be located again?
So our prototype was here outside of San Diego, but right now the process we're taking is forming the core group first, and then allowing that core group through a decision-making process like sociocracy or holacracy, whatever our governance model is, make those decisions together and generate the resources, find the land. So it's location non-specific right now. We're creating the core team first and letting the core team kind of co-create all of that together.
So you're still trying to decide the ultimate destination, basically.
Well, I mean, I'm a big fan of like the collective wisdom of a group. And so like I have thoughts of places that I'm interested in and inspired by, like reasons that I think places would be a good idea. There's a lot of positive things I think about Costa Rica, and I'll share some of those maybe right here. But I'm also a big fan of important part of this project is that the group together makes decisions, not that there's any one person making them. And so for that reason, I'll share with you a couple of my thoughts, but just clear that it's a lot about the core group making those decisions together. Costa Rica is, for me, the political kind of envelope and container of this project is a important part of it in terms of, I guess, the politics and the zoning and the permitting and the policy. Here in the United States, there's a lot of red tape, and as somebody mentioned earlier, like dealing with like composting toilets or something like that. There's a lot of expensive processes for like building permits and jumping through a lot of hoops that are not there in other countries. And I think the change needs to happen everywhere. And a lot of people look to the US for leadership. And so I love the idea, and the concept is to have a network of these villages, but we have to start somewhere with the first one. And once that model's functioning, we'll replicate it in other ecosystems and countries. So I love, I love the idea of having it in the US, but there's also a lot of challenges to doing it here. And so there's the thought of like, hey, if we can go down in Costa Rica or somewhere in Central or South America, do it, create a model for working, and then come back and talk with policymakers and say, hey, here's what we did here, here's what we could do in the US if law supported it. And another component
that's the hurdle. That's the hurdle. What's going over there is the citizenship and owning property and being able to stay there as a inhabitant of Costa Rica. You can only stay for 3 months unless you're spending a certain amount of money. And I guess you're thinking that the eco-village will provide some kind of benefit to the government to allow all of us to stay there if we were to do that type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, another thing I like about Costa Rica is like the UN has, for one, like a lot of their tax money goes towards environmental initiatives and education, not towards military. And the UN peacekeeping troops, I guess, basically is their military. The UN has UP studies down there. So I think there's, aligning with the UN Sustainable Development Goals. There's different.
Like, are you talking about like Agenda 21 or Agenda 2030? UN.
The Sustainable Development Goals.
According to the UN. I don't trust the UN at all.
Well, that's okay. I mean, there's a lot of different opinions about the UN. I don't want to get too deep into like well, I mean, sure.
Have you read Agenda 21?
I've read parts of it, yeah, but I don't want to get into that discussion right now.
Well, it's really important. It's like the most important discussion of all, pretty much. I mean, if they want to take over the world and
Jonathan, I don't think that's the agenda for this breakout group. I think maybe you may want, I don't, Joshua, it's up to you, but maybe Jonathan wants to have an independent breakout group. Some people may want to listen.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Okay.
With all due respect, sorry.
Yeah.
I get it. I'm just, I understand what propaganda is. It's, it's only 2% lies. So when I'm looking at the Agenda 21, and if you're in line with that, I'm basically not. So I can probably end this call now.
Okay, and that's totally your prerogative. I'm not aligning with Agenda 21. I'm looking at the U.S.
Okay, cool. Okay, well then at least you answered that question. You read the pamphlet, you're not aligning with Agenda 21, you say, right? You agree you said that?
Sure.
Jonathan.
And, like, this is not a political debate. Like, this isn't really the vibe that I'm bringing towards this. So, like, either if you want to chime in with, like, you know,
This is a
productive conversation around this, welcome. Otherwise, please let's listen.
Well, no, I was just acknowledging that you said that. You said, I know what Agenda 21 is, and
Jonathan.
you do or you
Yeah,
don't.
we can do a separate breakout on it another time. I made a note and I can research that on my own separately, but I would prefer to discuss something else with
Yeah,
my
that
time.
can be an action item. Research on Agenda 21.
Yeah, totally.
Well,
Joshua.
Yep.
Joshua,
Thanks, Jonathan.
Joshua, I'm interested in hearing more about the model, the local Earth Village you're going to be most basing your work on. The 1, 2, or 3 models. You know, we all say these stand on the shoulders of giants, and there's so many people doing these kind of things, and I'm the last person to answer and to be any kind of expert, and I know you are.
Yeah, well, I mean, would not claim that I'm an expert, but yeah, there's a lot of different village models that I've traveled around to a lot of different communities, read. Diana Leaf Christian has a book called Creating a Life Together. She traveled around studying all kinds of eco villages around the world, and wrote a book on what worked and what didn't work, what helped keep groups of people together, what broke groups of people apart. And Twin Oaks is a community that has been really inspiring to me. There's a book called Walden 2 that was really inspiring, and I didn't read it until about 4 or 5 months ago. And when I did, I was like, wow, a lot of these systems are very similar to what the models we're working on. And what we're looking at, we're having a very, one foundational thing is really looking at the concept of access rather than ownership. And so contributing, we're looking at around 20 hours a week to whatever the village, the cooperatively managed village businesses are. And in exchange for that, having a place to live in the village, 3 meals a day from the cafeteria, all your basic needs for those around 20 hours. And so that's a similar model they did to the Twin Oaks community. The 12 tribes is there's a network of communities all around the world called the 12 tribes, and they have things called the yellow delis in a lot of communities. And there's definitely a dogmatic component to the 12 tribes that I personally couldn't align with. A community that they don't call themselves Christian, but Yeshua, Jesus, is definitely a core component of their model. And we have no dogma that's part of our model, like very inclusive spirituality. And so that part of the model is one that I don't align with, but there's a lot of what they do that is really inspiring. They've been around for like 30 or 40 years. They've got communities in like 10 different countries. Some of them are around, I mean, that larger number of, some of the communities do have over 100 people. They usually have a farm. They have usually a restaurant or a deli in the community that's outward facing, so the public can go to their deli. That's a form of revenue for the communities. They usually go to the farmer's market. They have a Friday night dinner that anybody can come to their communities, have a free dinner. They have a network between all of their communities where, like, hey, we need somebody to help build our cafe down in Argentina. They'll send like 10 builders down there from some community in the US. Or they grow a lot of their yerba mate down in South America. They ship it up to the US to their different communities up here, to their cafes. They've got a community up in Alaska that fishes for salmon. They'll send salmon down to their community. They're super well networked. And then the Findhorn is, I mean, kind of to me, one of the flagship, I mean, inspirational stories. So Findhorn, Damanhur in northern Italy, Orville in India, all of those have like helped lend inspiration to the model that we've been working on. So it's an integration of a handful of different community models that are out there.
What was the one in Italy?
Damanhur. I think if you Google Daumenhur, something like that. If you Google something like that, I'm sure it'll pop up.
Great.
Joshua, do we have in a document somewhere like a list of locations that are being considered and like pros and cons, or can we start one?
Sorry, I was looking at the notes or the chat real quick. Can you repeat that, Steph?
Yeah, do we have somewhere in a document, or can we start a list of locations that are being up for consideration and the pros and cons of those locations?
Yeah, I think that would be a great, I don't have that specific document, so I will make a note right now for an action item to do that.
Joshua, in the same vein, I understand the need to get your core 100 or 150 in the groups, and you're probably looking for certain qualifications of everyone. Are you open to having people that will be advisors? So not the 100, 150, because I don't know that I could do that right. I know because of this global project I'm working on, I can't start diverting my time to do this. And the work that I'm learning with this global project, it's going to be able to kill it and crush it for organizations like yours and others, because we learn so much. Grow. I'm sorry. I've been looking for something that's better. Thank you. I hate using this kill it and crush it. Grow it. Thank you. I'm shifting immediately. Thank you. So are there going room for whether we're called elders, advisors, affiliates, associates? I don't care what it's called.
Yes. I'm taking a couple of notes here real quick. So what
Zone 2, right?
Yep. So what we did for the prototype was what we called Zone 1 was people who wanted to live in the village, be part of like the creation of the village. And then Zone 2 was kind of our group of friends, colleagues, allies, collaborators. And so definitely we'll have a Zone 2 and stoked to have you part of that, Greg.
Thank you.
Yeah.
For now, that's where I'd have to be for now.
Yeah. And I think the process, like, Findhorn, some of these different communities that I have found inspiring, like Findhorn started, there's like a group of like 3 people living in a trailer, meditating on a garden, and like the garden started to grow amazingly abundant, and and all of a sudden like there's hundreds of people living there, and I mean now they're peripheral, like they probably got thousands of people involved with Findhorn. And so what I've seen, like I guess just my faith is that even if there's a group of like 3 or 4 people that want to move towards the larger vision of that 100 to 150, whatever that core team is, we'll move forward with that. It could be 3 people, it could be 20 people, it could be 16. I don't know what that core group's going to be. So that group will be moving forward as Zone 1 after time, and then we'll be just, staying in communication with Zone 2. We've got a Facebook thread. I know a lot of people don't like to use Facebook, so we might create a Telegram messenger thread. We'll figure out the best forms of communication, but yeah, we'll definitely have Zone 2, and grateful to have you on it, Greg.
Well, I'd really been wondering about the location as well. Having a Zone 1 and a Zone 2 makes it really possible for me to participate in whatever form it takes. If I was going to live there, I would want it to be someplace close to here, because I see my career as closely aligned with regenerative living, and I'd want to be able to go back and forth between the world of community and that world of my clients who are building traditional homes, and just, you know, be able to influence and bring the idea of regenerative living into the work that I do, and that influence into the idea processing of these people who have money and means to create these things. So if they don't know what we're about because I live someplace else and given up my career, then I feel like it would be a missed opportunity for me. So I and the ideas that you brought up about how, if it was someplace here, what about would we want to resell? Would it be permanent? Would we want to make it so that we could resell in a traditional environment, but live there in a non-traditional and regenerative way?
Well, I'll respond to that question. Going back a little bit, I think there's a lot of pros to having something in the United States, a lot of benefits, and there's a lot of challenges. And I'm very open to either, but again, it will be that core group that makes that decision together of what we feel is most valuable. And but in response to that last part of like selling, there's no part of this model is to sell. This is to create multi-generational villages that will be there for hundreds, thousands of years, where our great grandchildren are growing up there. So no, it's not at all designed to sell.
That's powerful. That's really valuable. Thanks for making that remark about that.
Yeah. And Paul, if you want to give, I don't think, you didn't do an introduction, did you?
I joined in late. Sorry, guys. I'm based in Mexico, and I'm basically on this call because you guys are like there's a few groups of us around doing the same. I mean, a lot of us have the same dream and intention, right? So I came from Australia, but I live in Mexico, and I'm getting to know the local indigenous tribes to collaborate and work together on cooperatives. But also, when I find the ideal indigenous tribe and community where we can buy some land, then we want to start some eco villages, like one eco village and a cooperative business that will help fund that in that region of Mexico. So I've spent 2 years now in Mexico on this mission, just getting to know the lay of the land and the people here.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being here, Paul.
Well, I'd love to be like in like a tier 2 of your project, maybe for now, just be a collaborator.
Yeah. And that's a lot of the platform for this mastermind is, I mean, for those that want to dive deeper into the model that we're doing with Local Earth, that's what this breakout group is. But also just to provide a platform for, I mean, there's many of us that are seeing very similar visions all around the world, and to, you know, provide this platform for collaboration. So yeah, thanks for being here, Paul.
Right.
Joshua, has anybody looked into using people's retirement accounts to help fund villages and efforts like this?
It's a good question.
I have.
Okay.
I've actually done it. But my only liquid cash is my retirement account, small amounts. But you can't put it into your own projects, but you can put it into other people's projects. Anybody except yours, your parents, or your kids, or anybody up or down the line. But siblings are okay, obviously. But you can, by basically moving retirement to a self-directed IRA, then I just give instructions. Okay, you guys should make a loan to this eco village over here. We helped an artist co-op in Oakland by themselves, and my wife helped Fair Oaks Eco Housing near Sacramento. We made them a loan that helped them get their construction loan, provided some of the security for that.
Right. Most. I don't want to derail this talk. Yeah. One quick question. There's very few, if any, self-directed IRAs allow you to do that. Could we talk offline? I'd love to hear.
I'm happy to.
Awesome. That's good. And I think that comes into some of that multi-generational part of the concept is definitely, you know, it's an important part to have it multi-generational, even looking at like the population, if we're trying to stay at that, you know, whether it's 100 or 150 people, you know, how many young people we have in the community, middle-aged, elderly, and I mean the full cycle as we go through. And we were also talking about this, you know, these initial phases of kind of the pioneers that really want to build it. There's going to be quite a bit of I mean, physical hard work. And so it'll be interesting to figure out how we start like that initial group of how many people from different age groups, you know, how many people are in their 30s, how many people are in their 20s, how many people are in the 50s, 60s, and, you know, tapping into advice and guidance from elders for sure. And so it'll just be interesting. And when you ask that retirement question, that, I mean, ties in, I guess, to different generations within the village.
So 100% yes and 100% no, because if I'm zone 2 and I want to put my money into an eco village for philosophical reasons, for a future, for whatever the reasons are, it doesn't matter my generation. It doesn't matter who's going to be part of your main village.
Yeah.
It's me, and could be a whole bunch of other people that want to be part of this. And I think that's going to be huge if Rains, Mr. Eco Village Ambassador, has one or more IRA accounts. I think there's a whole lot of people that would want to do that.
Yeah, it's a really interesting idea. So you're thinking like people that might not even necessarily want to live in the village, but just support the values and the ethics and contribute towards it?
Yeah, I'll be very frank here. One of my greatest dreams, and I've started living it with a facility here right near DC, which has 64 acres of land that could be ideal for what you're doing, but that's an aside. I want to start investing chunks of my IRA into eco villages, retreat center kind of places around the world, because when I retire, I'm going to have 1 or 2 main living areas, but then I'm going to want 5, 10, or 15 different places to be able to go live for 2 weeks, 2 weeks a year, a month a year, or for the year. And if I've been paying into this eco collective, and I'm sorry I'm not using the right words because
the words don't matter.
Okay, well that's perfect. That's I'm not gonna grow there or crush it there. But I would like to be. I don't want to be paying to J.P. Morgan, Morgan Sachs, in the mutual fund industry. I have to right now because that's where money's growing. Over the next 6 months, probably not. So if I could start filtering my money into 1 or more different eco villages or collaboratives or affiliations, then I want to live around the world doing this kind of work. And there are already retirement account communities that they're asking, it's a minimum of 500,000, and I'm like, you're an idiot. I don't want to live in luxury apartments. Do I want to? Yes and no. Anyway, I think it's a lot bigger than you would imagine. I think it's a huge potential source of income, and I think there are, I don't know if I'm a baby boomer what I have. There's a whole bunch of us, a lot of money in a retirement account, and I believe plenty of us would love to put 5%, 10%, or 20% that into organizations like yours, especially if it's I'd want to be at the Esalen kind of places. I'd want to be at the Kripalu kind of places. I don't want to be in the low end with the mud huts.
Yeah.
But I say this lovingly, we need the mud huts too. I'm just not investing in those.
Yeah.
But you don't know. There's a whole lot of us out there.
Yeah.
A lot of us.
Yeah, speaking of that, I'm wondering what kind of living conditions you envisioned. Like, is it going to be something like small living areas and shared community spaces, or do you have any kind of vision for that in the eco village? And by the way, I build mud huts and they're great. Like people live, like 90% of the world lives in mud huts. So I think there's nothing wrong with them. You can seal them up with linseed oil, or some people use ox blood, and they're really beautiful homes, and you can carve cob into them and shape them and use beautiful bottle bricks. Anyways,
yeah.
Do you have a vision for the style of living?
Well, yeah, and I'll second that. I mean, there are some really beautiful, super simple earthen homes, but I also get, Greg, what you're saying about Esalen and different vibes for different people. You know what they're gonna invest money into, and John Paul, I mean, I'll probably repeat this a lot of times. Like, I'll share with you my response, and then also knowing that a lot of it is going to be guided by whoever the core group is moving forward together in that decision-making process.
Yeah,
But I do see similar to almost, I mean, co-housing concepts of everybody has their own private living space, and that's a model that a lot of I guess a lot of that I enjoy, and a lot of people I've been talking with, like, they love the idea of community when they feel like being social and being around other people, and then they also like to have their independence. And so out at the village, we had our own independent living spaces throughout the property, and then we had the community kitchen, like the lounge and living space and all of that in kind of the center. And so that's kind of a model that I like, of like simple, like trying to keep the structures as affordable and basic as possible for people that want to have like a simple, beautiful life connected to nature. They're not looking for like super high-end luxury. And then I would say several different types of housing. Some people that just really want a simple space, like a space to go sleep, have their clothes. They don't even worry about cooking or anything there, because we'll have the community kitchen and kind of the dining hall, and they want to do everything in the communal space. And then some living spaces I can see having like a small little kitchen for people that want the option to cook, you know, at home and not go into the community kitchen or the community lodge for dinners. And I guess when you look into the costs of like architecture and building and a home, a lot of it, once you get into either the bathroom or the plumbing and the kitchen components, those actually, you know, they bring up a lot of the costs. And so I would see there being a balance of some like really simple spaces where people do just have their own individual space to sleep and be, and then use the communal spaces for everything else. And then some spaces that are more self-enclosed with, I mean, their own bathroom and their own kitchen and stuff like that.
Do you mind if I interject there, Josh?
Go for it.
So what I've found in development is as soon as you have a water spigot, even if it's a hose bib, they want you to have a septic. And at least in all counties in Texas. And Texas is pretty lenient on, like, they don't meter, they allow you to collect rainwater and they don't meter your wells like they would in Florida. But so if you have a kitchen, because of the grease, it's considered a septic. So like you were saying, you're right about that. And if you have a compost toilet, well, that doesn't use water. So basically, that's the basic level of what you're getting at is if you're going to have bottled water and compost toilets, then you're going to, you know, then you don't need a septic. And the septic is the biggest cost. I mean, for my development of 14 tiny homes, I've got to spend $100,000 on just the septic alone.
And we're not talking about not having a septic. It's just more like smaller homes that don't have septic in those smaller homes, but larger areas that are shared with a larger septic.
Yeah. So as soon as you have water going to that mud hut or whatever the hell it is, if you got a tent with a water spigot, a hose bib, you got to have a septic. So at least according to code, and you know, but you can get away with it if you don't tell them. You can do a lot of things if you don't tell anyone. But if like what we're getting at here is also, what about the resale value, and like, what do you want? Is that so? You know, are you going to stay there for a couple of years or forever? And
I think you missed out of that part. We talked about that earlier, and so like the concept, we're not looking.
I get it, but I was just reinitiating that. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I think you said we're not looking to resell, is what I heard earlier. Is that correct?
Yeah.
You said you're not looking. Okay.
No, we're not looking to resell. And I think that's, again,
share my experience, if it's appropriate, about when I was in college. This was like in 1983 or 84. I lived in a teepee, and I, you know, being an environmental student, I worked with our local campus group called Center for Low Technology, and we tried to introduce to the city council the idea of composting toilets and also having water that was recycled from the community and cleaned via a pond that then emptied into the ocean. And they were dead set against the composting toilets, and during my tenure at Humboldt State, we didn't get it through. But now it's totally okay to have a composting toilet in your home, that you build a traditional type home and you want to have a composting toilet, you can do that. And that septic treatment system for gray water and sewage is a real thing that's growing fish in Arcata. So that all happened. It took maybe 30 years, but you know, times are changing and people are more open to these ideas, and they've succeeded in other places. We can bring those models to our local communities, and that's what I'm all about. I joined, I sit in on the environmental sustainability meetings in my local city council, the Commission for Environmental Sustainability, and we're just pushing these ideas forward to make it possible. And then as a consultant to developers, what I do is help them understand what the code is and how they can comply and still do the things that they want to do. So I see opportunities to make this happen and not be stuck in something where you have to build a septic that you're not even going to use. I think there's hope.
Yeah, in New Mexico, we're actually we're capturing our gray water and putting it in a planter cell and watering plants with it. And, and then we do have septic, but it goes into a evapotranspiration cell where it's feeding trees and other non-food bearing plants. And we're growing figs and persimmons and lots of tropical fruits in the desert, just using thermal mass and heating. I definitely recommend coming out here to Taos and checking out the Earthship sometime.
Yeah, the Earthships have amazing systems set up, and they use each drop of water 3 or 4 times, and they went through a lot. The movie The Garbage Warrior is a really inspiring documentary that goes into what they had to do with, dealing with policy and permits and septic and all of that. It's a very informative documentary. And there's also a group in Oregon called ReCode that has been working on composting toilet policy and codes for the last couple of years. So they've got a lot of information there as well. And we have a resource sharing document. And so all of these things we can start to put into there. I've seeded it with a good amount of stuff. I think I do have that ReCode in the resource document. So I can pull up that resource list right now and drop it in the chat.
They also have a sustainable test site, and they've been putting black water into their botanical cells and the sustainable test site, which as long as it's recirculated, it really doesn't smell, and the plants seem to thrive off of that.
Yeah, there's something crazy about after you make that water catchment cistern in the shape of an egg, for something with the electromagnetics, it keeps it spinning as long as it's not a flat bottom. So there's some really crazy stuff with the egg shaped cisterns that keep it moving. And unfortunately, there's so much juicy stuff that we could get into, but we're kind of supposed to go back to our main kind of group session to hear if anybody else has some wisdom to share from their groups. So we can go deeper. Oh, and actually I'm seeing some people back here already. Hi, Michael. You're glowing there with the earth.
And I just want to say, Greg, I didn't mean to put a jab at you about the mud hut things.
We can have all classes of structures.
I love everything, anybody that's trying to support this kind of movement.
Guys, I love it. I threw it out there. I'm going to continue to say I don't know things, and to know that there's over you mud structure people around the world saying they're some of the most popular, even better. Again, most likely not something I'll invest in, but that's not what's important. What's important, we need multiple portals of entry. We need thousands of these communities. We need tax dollars. We need ecosystems. We need all the stuff Jonathan's talking about with septic systems and relaxation. We need Deborah learning and helping with the codes. We need it all. So more mud huts. You know what? In the next, I commit to in the next year, spending at least one night in a mud hut.
Yeah.
I mean, try an Earthship. They use Adobe on the walls there, and I bet you'll fall in love with mud huts once you live in one of those things.
Greg, where do you live again, Greg?
So my house is in San Francisco. I'm currently renting in New York because my younger daughter is here for school, so I'm here for now.
Okay.
They have Earthships in New York. The state.
What is Earthship?
Earthship biotexture.
Yeah.
It's in our resources document under. Actually, I'm not sure if I have it in there. If not, I'll add it.
Mike Reynolds.
Yeah.
Earthship what?
Earthship biotexture. And The Garbage Warrior is a really, really inspiring documentary that is very pertinent to all of this that we're talking about. It's something I would
Garbage Warrior?
The Garbage Warrior, yep.
So is there a way that we can connect with people that are on the talk still?
Yeah, I was going to put my social media in the chat myself.
Yep, so I'll share it again right here. There's the contacts list with needs and offers, and then there's also the resource list. So you can drop any links in there. And I'll send all of this out in a follow-up email so everybody has all of these links as well. So let's hear from a couple of the other breakout groups if there was any, just really inspiring wisdom nuggets that you'd like to share or action items that anybody wanted to take if they plan on participating next month, completing between now and then.
I'll go.
Go for it.
So something really, a lot of really great stuff came up, but the piece that was really most sort of impactful for me was this conversation around how it seems like, there's so much to do in this movement. And, one of the really kind of critical pieces in the social dynamic is how to deal with people's issues when they come up. Everybody has their baggage, but there can be, people, because people, this is a space where people are often just coming into understanding that they have issues, that can just be becoming processed, as people are getting into these groups. And so how do we deal with like that as we're like trying to get the practical work of things done? And it was just, a conversation around, okay, having space at the beginning of every like practical meeting for people to like share, how are you doing? How are you doing? Like even just 1 or 2 minutes, like you had at the beginning of this, 20 seconds, 2 minute, minute, depending on how many people are in the meeting, just having a little space for somebody to be like, I'm great. I'm not doing great right now. I'm actually feeling this intense way, and maybe giving that person permission and space to be like, well, if you're in that space, you can either not be in the meeting, or just having said it, maybe they're like, okay, and now I've said it, and now I can join the meeting more fully. And or like having separate meetings where people can specifically deal with personal issues, so that if you're in a practical meeting when you're trying to get shit done and personal stuff comes up, somebody can call it out and be like, this is something that might be handled at this other meeting. So let's put a pause on this reality for now, shall we? And we all can be in agreement around that, and da-da-da. So anyway, it was just a very cool, for me, I was like, this is a great, way that we can not only honor like where people are at, and that this movement is really around us reconnecting each other as humanity as much as the earth, because the earth, humans are what the earth has done to itself. And so we're really reconnecting to the earth by reconnecting to each other. But then also the practical work of like getting stuff done and making this really happen on a physical level.
I'm so happy that you brought a lot of that up, brother. And yeah, I'll share a little thing that we did in the prototype project. We had every Tuesday night, we had a right relation circle, and everybody had 2 minutes. We'd sit in a circle, we'd look around, look everybody in the eye, and, you know, be like, I'm in right relation, I'm in right relation. And like, when you're looking at somebody in the eye, it's like, it's there. And you're like, you get to somebody and like, huh, like something came up with this week in the garden, you know, between Michael and I. There'd just be like a place to surface that and not get into it. We had a 2-minute timer. And so the right relation circle wasn't the time to go in and deal with all of like what came up, but just like surface it, say, hey, Michael, we talk sometime this week to clear this. We had a person in the village nominated as the peacekeeper. So if somebody wanted a third party, a person present for a conversation, they could ask the peacekeeper to be there. So that was one thing that we did along those lines of kind of social technology, was that right relation circle every Tuesday night. Any other, I'll unmute you, Greg. Trying to unmute you, Greg. There you go.
Hi, is Rains still on the call?
Yes.
Yes, he is.
Rains, hi, your needs or your offer, I'm sorry, your offer was for Eco Village design cards. I don't know what that is. Maybe other people do not also.
I'll share more in the time from the Global Eco Village Network. And the idea, it's the embedding of permaculture, systems design, system thinking into how do you think about the cultural, economic, social, and environmental aspects of design for community. And they can help with the kind of holistic planning that results in the sum greater than the parts.
Fantastic.
The win-win modeling.
If you want to put that into that document, maybe some other people might find a little bit extra information helpful.
I'll find a link to the actual source.
Sure, it's up to you. And what's that Eventbrite for?
That Eventbrite is for next month's Mastermind on November 5th. So any other breakout groups that had something exciting that you want to share with everybody before we
I just wanted to say thank you to Zola. She kind of helped to facilitate our group, and for the participation from Bridget and Maggie and Dylan. I think it was really fruitful, and I think one of the things that came out, and maybe Zola, you could speak on it, but we kind of had the whole systems kind of design or desire to do it from a couple of different perspectives, kind of undercover in the cuts, you know, not necessarily worrying about making sure that you're following all the laws, and then the other side trying to do it legally and kind of what that entails. So that was really nice to hear it from both of those perspectives. And then also bringing in the expertise and looking at some of the expertise of what some other communities are doing, that can sometimes be helpful when you're trying to bring something new to your community that has already been done somewhere else. And sometimes those communities, especially when it comes to permaculture, that expertise can be found not necessarily through the permaculture quote unquote lens, which is relatively new, but looking at our indigenous cultures, wherever that may be in New Zealand, or, you know, different communities that are here in the States. There's a lot of expertise there that we can pull from.
Oh, thank you, Marissa. That's really awesome. Anybody else have anything?
So, hey, I'm having a problem adding myself to the contact list. Is it? I'm using my cell phone too. So,
Is this Jonathan?
I don't know. Is it? Yeah, it's Jonathan.
If you just want to like type it into the chat, I can copy and paste it in there.
I went
Okay,
ahead and made an entry from the comments.
Okay.
Okay, I did. I think I did too.
Okay.
But yeah, I definitely like to talk to some, like Greg, what you were talking about. That's a really good idea, getting people who want to invest, and I mean that could help fund many eco villages. Like it's and if people.
I'm with you. I want to share. There's plenty of people that aren't going to want to do that. Maybe the 99% or the 98%. I think 90 to 95% of people won't want to do that. But I don't really care. We don't need 90, 95% of the people. You need, if 5% of people have, $1 billion or $500 million, that's going to do a lot of work here.
Exactly. You could get a GoFundMe and say you're. I mean, and actually do it. You have to do it for real. I mean, if you're doing something to help people, that you like detox, holistic medicine, cryogenic oxygen chambers, and there's a lot of people who know that you can't say that you're curing a disease, but if they know that you actually are, they will help fund it. And if you're really doing, but but that's the thing on a GoFundMe and anything like that. When you're raising funds, you got to do what you're saying you're doing. You can't just be like, oh, get a bunch of money and not do it. When that's with anything, but you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, I loved Greg's idea with the retirement. Greg in our breakout group shared like the concept of a lot of people have retirement accounts and funds that they might want to offer towards projects that are in alignment with their values and ethics. And I thought that was a very creative idea.
I totally was enjoying that conversation as well. So if anyone wants to continue that at a separate time, that was really interesting to me.
Yeah, I'd be interested in joining in that conversation, whether it's the next mastermind or if people are on the Facebook page. Joshua, if you're okay with us like connecting on that event page, if it's still open.
Oh yeah, totally. So I think I shared a link to the Facebook page. I invite collaboration and connection and all the means possible. I know all of us want to have like one central spot so we don't go, but not everybody's on all the platforms. So yeah, the contact list here for people who are not on Facebook, use the Facebook group. Yeah, I invite. The big part of this is, networking and collaboration. I mean, that's the essence of this. So the more that we can connect between masterminds, the better. And
yeah, I speaking of that, if anybody wants to come out to Taos, I extended the same invitation to Joshua. If you want to come to Taos, I'll take you to some of the small like eco villages that we have going on here. I can show you around. We have Voluntuesday every Tuesday, and we help each other at each other's projects and homes. And Saturdays, ecstatic dance parties, and Sunday we have a flea market. So there's a lot of community going on, maybe unintentional community, but like just coming and collaborating together. This year's been a magical year in Taos, New Mexico. And anybody is welcome. Reach out to me. I'll give you a tour of the airships and take you around to some of the communities.
John, have you had any connection?
Hey, John, have you heard? Oh,
go ahead, Jonathan.
Go ahead. Sorry. Have you heard of Robert Plar? He used to live in Taos. I think he was friends with Mike Reynolds. You know who that is?
No.
Okay. He built a big Earth ship. He's been working kind of along with Mike Reynolds for like 30 years. But yeah, I was just, I don't know. It was interesting. I was about to go to Taos, so just thought I'd mention that. But
Robert Plar built the Angel's Nest, and then somebody stole a bunch of money from him, and then he lost it. Yeah, it's called,
exactly.
that Michael owns that now. He oriented it the wrong way. It's not facing south, and it's not the best
Yeah,
performing building.
I know. I heard about some of this stuff. Yeah.
So, Greg, sorry, what?
Go ahead.
Yeah, John, are you affiliated or friends with any of the folks at in Espanol at the Kundalini Yoga Ashram whole center that's there?
Yeah, actually, I know the Kolsas live in the Urship community, and they have.
The Khalsa is the name of all the folks in the Kundalini Yoga
Yeah,
movement.
I know.
So that's anybody.
I'm trying. Well, they're famous Kundalini yoga experts. I'm trying to remember the name of them. But they do free Kundalini classes every Monday. I can, if we can get in touch after this, I can share their information.
Yeah,
Or who they are, and
yeah.
or we could just be friends and be in communication. You seem
Let's
like
do that. But part of why I mentioned that, it's a phenomenal community, great technology. They are, and I will use the word exploding. They are exploding because of some political stuff with Yogi Bhajan and what had happened. And I can't get into the whole thing there, but there's a bunch of people fractioning off and going way, way away. There are a lot of people like me staying a little bit straddled, and there are people that stay rooted in
yeah. And I know last
rigidity.
year they had a big accident there with one of the tents that blew over, and
That was just last summer, yep.
yeah.
But
So
there's even
Gurmukh,
way bigger problems they're running through. But the problems, I'm a big believer in using breakdowns for breakthroughs, and the people that are sticking with it and sticking together and having creative, loving dialogues are just exploding out of a very tight group that wasn't ready to explode out. So there's a lot of really great people with sustainable living. I can't go into too much detail about it. It's outside of the purview of this group, but there's a lot of splinter people splitting off from that. Anyway, that's all.
Greg, do you know Gurmukh Khalsa?
Which Gurmukh?
All right, I'll send you a video so maybe you'll recognize her face.
Well, yeah, there's definitely a strong connection because they're not that far, like an hour or two south of Taos. So yeah, there's definitely a connection between, I mean, the yoga communities, people who want to live in touch with the land. I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand. There's a lot of synergy with those communities. So yeah, definitely worth like thinking in the context of kind of the mastermind and bioregions, kind of what's happening with the Kundalini yoga community in New Mexico. Like definitely a good kind of thing to track and be aware of.
I sent you a link where she gives a tour of her Earthship. And so then you can be introduced to Earthships and maybe you'll recognize who she is.
Thank you.
Well, I love all of this, and I could talk about this for a long time, but I do want to honor everybody's time, and we have gone over. I really appreciate those of you who are still on. And this being the first one, learning a little bit about like the introductions went longer, so I think we'll keep that a little more concise. We did start almost 10 minutes late waiting for people to sign in, so I think next time we'll probably just try to jump in. Hopefully people will be on time, and we'll have a little bit longer in the breakout rooms. And just really grateful for everybody showing up. There's a lot of really inspiring, knowledgeable, amazing people on this Zoom. And so I really believe so much in sharing wisdom, and we're more powerful and impactful together than individually. So yeah, just honor all of you showing up. And the next one is November 5th. So again, we'll try to do them on the first Thursdays of the month. You can check the website. Sometimes we might have to switch days or weeks, but we're aiming towards the first Thursday of the month. And you can use the Facebook group in between. Use the contact Google Doc if you want to reach out to somebody personally with email or phone number. And thank you all so much for being here. Appreciate you all.
Can we stay on the chat if we wanted? I guess. Can people stay?
We could stay on for a few minutes. I've been going straight for a long time, so I need to soon off.
Well, so basically, if you hang up, then we all hang up.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah. No, I mean I could.
I mean, not that I don't want you. I want you to be on the call as long as you
Yeah,
want.
yeah.
But if you're tired and you got to go, then
I could hang for a
get
few minutes. We'll see how it goes. But if anybody wants to,
well, I don't know. I was just gonna bring in other topics, and that's different. You know, maybe a different whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody's down for that or interested in that type of discussion about, I don't know, sovereignty and agreements and rights and taxes and how to avoid them and all these logistics of entities that want to rule over you. I'm an anarchist too.
Yeah. I mean, I think those are big topics, and I think for now, like, we'll yeah. What'd you say, Greg? Oh, I think let's sign off for now. And
Okay.
we've got a month to marinate on things before the next one. We have people's contact information. We got the Facebook group. We've got many ways to keep the communication going between. So yeah. Any last?
Hey, Josh, thanks for holding the group, and thanks for your consistency and bring people together for this kind of conversation.
Yeah, much
So,
gratitude.
appreciate it. Looking
Thank
forward
you.
to more. Looking forward to more. Thank you so much.
Awesome. You are welcome. You are all welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Have a great evening, everyone.
Happy full moon.
Thank
Can I just ask
Love you all.
because I'm an agorist. I didn't catch whose name that was. It'd be good to connect.
Anarchist.
Who said that?
Yeah,
Anarchist?
Jonathan Colwell.
Hi, Jonathan. Okay, good one. I'll be in touch, man.
Thank
Who's
you,
that?
Josh.
Who was that?
Thank you.
That's Paul. I'm an agorist, which is sort of like basically an anarchist who loves cooperatives.
Oh, okay. Awesome. All right, man. Well, yeah, it was great meeting and seeing all your beautiful faces, and I look forward to talking again. It's in a month or tomorrow, whatever.
Usually I have my ukulele and I could sing us out a little song.
Next month.
Next month I'll have the ukulele.
Happy belated
Okay.
birthday, Joshua.
I'll be in touch with you, Paul.
Oh, when's your
Thank
birthday,
you.
Josh?
Awesome.
Yeah, my
Gave him
birthday was on
away.
Oh, your birthday was already passed. Okay.
Hey, we could do May the long time sun shine upon you. How about that? Anybody up for that?
Happy birthday, belated birthday too, Joshua.
Thank you.
I'll just do it. You can end it or stop it, but may the long time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. Guide your way on. Guide your way on.
Thank you so much, Greg.
Thank you.
Good night.
You're awesome,
Oh.
Greg.
We are awesome.
We are awesome.
And in the words of Charlie
Okay.
Brown, we are number one. We are number one. We are number one.
Awesome.
The best Zoom meeting ever.
All right. You got it.
All right. Well, blessings, you all. Thank you so much, and hopefully see you next month.
Good night.
Aloha.
Good night.
Monica. Bye, Monica.
Love ya.
Bye-bye. Hi, bye.
Bye. Bye. Good night.